You got a dream, a real dream. I'm talking about that thing that keeps you up at night. That vision that lives inside of you, the one you can't shake no matter how many times life knocks you down. Yeah, that dream. The one that's bigger than your circumstances, bigger than your doubts, bigger than your background. But here's the reality. Dreams don't die on their own. No, they get choked out, sabotaged, silenced. And most of the time, it ain't life doing the killing. It's people, the wrong people. The people you let get too close. People you trusted. People you thought had your back. But deep down, they never believed in your dream like you did. You keep trying to build something meaningful while dragging people who are committed to destruction. You keep inviting people to the table who show up empty-handed, but leave with your peace, your time, and your focus. You can't build a dream with people who are only there to distract you. You can't climb with folks who keep pulling you back down into comfort and complacency. Not everybody deserves access to your life. Not everybody is supposed to be in your inner circle. And if you don't learn that now, you're going to pay for it later. Some of y'all got dreams on pause because you've been listening to the wrong voices. You've been carrying dead weight. You're entertaining people who only clap when you fail. People who shrink when you shine. And here's what's worse. They ain't always loud about it. Some of the most dangerous people around you, you ain't the ones throwing shade openly. Nah, it's the ones who smile in your face, but feed your fears. The ones who nod along when you talk about your goals, but never push you to grow. The ones who keep you playing small because your elevation threatens their comfort. That's the real danger. See, the wrong person doesn't have to destroy your dream with hate. They just have to drain your hope. You better start evaluating who's around you. You better stop giving passes to people just because they've been around the longest. Longevity doesn't equal loyalty. Just because they've been there doesn't mean they're for you. Some people are seasonal, but you trying to make them permanent. Some people were only meant to be part of the setup, not the story. You're holding on to folks God already removed from your future, and it's costing you momentum. Let me make it plain. The wrong person can change how you see yourself. That's what's scary. You started believing you could do it until they rolled their eyes. You had the courage to start until they said, "Why you?" You were ready to take that leap until they reminded you of who you used to be. Now you're second guessing. Now you're hesitating. Now you're trying to justify your dream to people who don't even have a purpose of their own. And while you're explaining, you're delaying. While you're convincing them, you're losing conviction in yourself. You can't afford to let someone else's fear become your ceiling. You can't keep making room for people who ain't moving. You got too much to do, too much to build, too much to become. And the truth is, the more serious you get about your dream, the smaller your circle's gonna get. Everybody can't go. Everybody won't understand. That's okay. Let them go. If their presence causes confusion, if their energy brings chaos, if their words create doubt, that's not love. That's not loyalty. That's sabotage in disguise. And every moment you spend defending your dream to them is a moment stolen from building it. You think you're being kind by keeping them close. You think you're being loyal by giving them chance after chance. But what you're really doing is disrespecting your own calling. You were called to rise. You were created to win. But you're letting your environment convince you otherwise. The wrong person can't take your purpose, but they can keep you too distracted, too discouraged, too drained to walk in it. They don't have to kill the dream directly. All they have to do is keep you doubting long enough until you do it yourself. Look at your circle. Evaluate your connections. Who's adding to you? Who's pushing you to be better? Who celebrates you when you win and still holds you accountable when you fall? If they can't do both, they don't deserve access. Stop letting people sit at your table just because they're familiar. Stop feeding people who only show up to eat, but never bring anything of value. Some folks are only around because you let them be. Take responsibility. Your dream is your responsibility. Your future is your assignment. And you can't build it in peace while you're surrounded by noise. One wrong person, just one, can derail a lifetime of work. Don't take that lightly. Don't ignore the red flags just because you've got history. Don't sacrifice your future for someone who wouldn't sacrifice comfort for you. You got to decide what's more important, being liked or being legendary, fitting in or fulfilling your calling. If they weren't built to carry your dream, stop handing it to them. The wrong person doesn't just slow you down. They blind you to what's possible. And if you're not careful, you'll wake up one day wondering how you lost something you were born to carry, all because you refused to let go of someone who was never meant to walk with you. Cut the cord. Protect the vision. Your dream's survival depends on it. You ever walk into a room and feel like something shifted, like the air changed? You were good. You were motivated. You were locked in. And then somebody stepped into your space, and all of a sudden, you feel drained, distracted, off balance. That's not coincidence. That's energy. Energy is real. Energy is contagious. And if you don't protect yours, you'll find yourself fighting battles that don't belong to you, carrying weight that ain't yours, and wondering why your fire keeps going out. You keep thinking it's you. You keep thinking you've lost the drive. That maybe you don't want it bad enough. Maybe you're not focused enough. But what you're not paying attention to is the environment you're trying to grow in. You're doing everything right, showing up early, staying disciplined, putting in the work, but you're still stuck, still tired, still not seeing the results. And I'm telling you, sometimes it's not about what you're doing, it's about who you're doing it around. You can't keep planting seeds in toxic soil and expect a harvest. You can't keep feeding your vision while you're surrounded by people who are starving your mindset. You can't be around people who complain all day and expect to stay grateful. You can't be around people who make excuses and expect to stay committed. The wrong energy doesn't just slow you down, it changes you. You start to sound like them, think like them, move like them. And the scariest part is you won't even realize it's happening. You start picking up habits that ain't yours. You start doubting things you used to be sure of. You stop dreaming big, not because the dream changed, but because the energy around you told you to shrink. That's why you can't play with this. You can't compromise when it comes to your circle. This ain't just about friendship. You don't need everybody to understand your grind, but you do need people around you who respect it. You need people who match your hunger, who match your discipline, who match your vision. Stop linking up with people just because you've known them a long time. Familiarity don't equal alignment. Just because they were there in chapter 1 doesn't mean they belong in chapter 10. Energy is the most expensive thing you have. And if you keep wasting it on people who don't appreciate it, don't be surprised when you find yourself running on empty. And when you're empty, your dream suffers. Your consistency suffers. Your decision-making suffers. You start procrastinating. You start letting things slide. And now what should have taken a year takes 3. What should have been a leap becomes a crawl. Not because you didn't have it in you, but because you were too tired from dealing with the wrong energy. This is why you've got to be intentional. Be intentional about your space. Be intentional about your peace. If they don't lift you, they limit you. If they don't challenge you, they chain you. If they don't feed you, they're feeding off you. And listen, this ain't about being arrogant or cold. This is about stewardship. You've been trusted with something valuable, your dream, your purpose. And your job is to protect it at all costs. You can't grow in chaos. You can't evolve in dysfunction. And you definitely can't fly when you keep tying yourself to people who are afraid of heights. So what's it going to be? You're going to keep giving your energy away to people who don't value it? Or are you finally going to draw the line and say, if it costs my peace, if it costs my focus, if it costs my energy, it's too expensive because you only get one life, and wasting it on the wrong people is the most dangerous investment you'll ever make. Choose wisely. Your dream depends on it. You ever wonder why? No matter how much you plan, how hard you push, it still feels like you're stuck in neutral. Like you're doing everything you can, waking up early, putting in the work, staying focused. But the results just aren't coming like they should. You look at the vision, you look at the effort, and you're thinking, why is this taking so long? I'll tell you why. Because sometimes it's not your hustle that's off. It's not your grind that's lacking. It's the people you've allowed in your life. One wrong person can delay everything that's meant for you. They might not stop it forever, but they can hold it up. And trust me, delay can feel just like denial when you're in the middle of it. You don't even realize how dangerous the wrong influence is until you're standing in a season that should have passed years ago. You keep telling yourself, my time is coming, but your time was already here. You just weren't aligned. You were too busy trying to pull someone along who wasn't supposed to make the journey. You were too committed to keeping someone close who was never meant to stay. And because you wouldn't release them, you missed the release that was meant for you. You keep thinking it's all about effort. And don't get me wrong, effort matters. But alignment is everything. Being in the right space, around the right people, with the right mindset, at the right time. That's how you move with power. That's when doors open. That's when favor flows. But if you're out of sync, even blessings can become burdens. Even opportunities can feel like obstacles. And too often, that misalignment is tied to one thing. You're still entertaining people who have no business being that close to your dream. Some of y'all are still stuck because you've got people in your circle who don't believe in elevation. They don't even believe in themselves, let alone believe in what you're trying to build. You're dreaming on 10 and they're living on 2. You're talking vision and they're talking gossip. You're focused on legacy, and they're still chasing attention. How do you expect to grow when you're dragging dead weight? How do you expect to run when you're tied to someone who won't even walk? You keep hoping they'll catch up. Keep believing they'll change. Keep praying they'll start to understand. But what if they're not supposed to? What if their role in your life was only temporary? What if this next level isn't delayed because you're unprepared, but because you're unwilling to let go of what's holding you back? See, the truth is, not everyone is meant to go with you. Some people were only there to help get you started. They played their part. They taught you something. Maybe they gave you support in a season when you needed it. That's real. But seasons change. And if you don't recognize when it's time to move on, you'll take that old weight into a new chapter and wonder why everything feels heavy. One wrong person can blur your vision. You start questioning things you used to be sure of. You start playing it safe because they don't have the courage to take risks. You start slowing down your process to accommodate someone who's never had any urgency about their own life. And the longer you delay the separation, the more you compromise your assignment. And let me be clear, it's not always toxic. It's not always dramatic. Sometimes it's just misaligned. They're not bad people. They're just not your people. They don't get your calling. They don't understand your purpose. They're not wired for the level you're trying to reach. And that's okay. You don't need to hate them. You don't need to create drama, but you do need to draw boundaries, because your destiny cannot be built around people who were never designed to carry it. You've got to recognize the delay, recognize the friction, that hesitation you feel, that lack of peace, that sense that something's not flowing right. That's not confusion. That's clarity. That's your inner voice, your spirit, your calling trying to tell you, this ain't it anymore. And the longer you ignore that, the more time you lose. You can't keep wasting time explaining your dream to people who don't even have one. You can't keep stalling because you're afraid of hurting someone else's feelings. Your dream is too valuable. Your purpose is too urgent. And time don't wait on loyalty to the wrong people. The reality is this: some doors only open when you're properly aligned. Some seasons only unlock when you're willing to walk away from what's been weighing you down. That friend who always doubts you. That partner who always questions your drive. That voice you keep listening to that whispers, you're not ready. You've got to shut all that down. Because as long as that influence stays active, your potential stays passive. You were born to move, born to grow, born to multiply. But you can't do that while stuck in relationships that drain more than they deposit. You can't do that tied to someone who's comfortable watching you settle. You can't do that with people who only show up when they need something, never when you're building something. And if you're honest, you know who that person is. You already feel the tension. You already know the disconnect. You just haven't had the courage to address it. But here's the thing. Until you do, the delay continues. The vision remains cloudy. The movement stays stalled. And the longer you wait, the more it starts to feel normal. You start adjusting to dysfunction. You start calling stagnation patience. You start telling yourself you're just being loyal, when really you're being afraid. Fear of walking alone is real. I get that. But what's even more dangerous is walking with the wrong person and letting them detour your destiny. Every second you delay separation is a second you delay manifestation. That's time you don't get back. That's progress that never shows up. That's purpose waiting on you to get serious about what matters. So, if you're serious about your dream, you've got to be serious about your alignment. If you're serious about your calling, you've got to be serious about your company. No more excuses. No more waiting for a better time. No more hoping they'll change. You either want the future or you want the comfort of the past. But you can't have both. Make the move. Because delay has already cost you enough. You got to understand something. Your life can change with just one decision. One choice. One bold, uncomfortable, no turning back moment of clarity where you say, enough. I'm done letting other people write my story. One decision to protect your peace. One decision to walk away. One decision to close the door, even if it's been open for years. One decision to stop giving the wrong person access to something they were never meant to influence. That's all it takes. Not 10, not 100, just one. And yet, too many of us are paralyzed. Not because we don't know what to do, but because we don't want to feel the weight of what it will cost us. But let me be real with you. Not deciding is a decision. Keeping them around is a decision. Saying nothing is a decision. And what makes it so dangerous is that while you hesitate, while you try to figure out the right way to let them go, the damage is already happening. You're losing focus. You're losing time. You're losing yourself. And you think you're being noble by sticking it out, by being loyal, by being understanding. But all you're really doing is giving the wrong person more room to interrupt your purpose. Some of y'all are being held hostage by guilt. You feel bad cutting them off because of the history you share. You keep telling yourself, but they were there for me when. And I get that. I respect loyalty. I respect gratitude. But listen to me, history does not equal destiny. Just because they were there for you back, then doesn't mean they're supposed to be there for where you're going now. That one person, the one who constantly drains you, distracts you, delays you, they can undo years of progress in a moment of misalignment. All it takes is one wrong conversation, one moment of influence, one seed of doubt planted in your mind, and suddenly you're off course. You can't afford to gamble your dream on someone else's inability to grow. You can't afford to shrink yourself just to keep someone else comfortable. That's not love. That's self-sabotage. You keep giving access to people who haven't earned it. You keep sharing your vision with people who don't respect it. And every time they mishandle your purpose, you lose a little more belief in yourself. That's not a minor issue. That's your destiny on the line. Some of y'all think separation has to be messy. That if you let them go, it means you're bitter or you're angry. No. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can do is walk away without drama, without noise. Just a quiet, firm decision that says, this is no longer serving my future. And that doesn't make you cold. That makes you clear. Clarity is kindness to you, to them. Because the longer you fake peace in a space that's killing your growth, the more pain you create for everybody. You've got to stop waiting for the perfect moment. Stop hoping they'll suddenly get it. Stop praying they'll evolve into the person you wish they were. Stop tying your future to their potential. That's not leadership. That's fear in disguise. You're not obligated to stay stuck just because you started the journey together. Growth demands tough decisions. It demands uncomfortable conversations. And sometimes it demands distance. One decision can give you your energy back. One decision can reset your mindset. One decision can unlock the version of you you've been trying to reach for years. But that decision won't feel good. It won't feel easy. It won't feel safe. And that's why most people never make it. They choose familiar over freedom. They choose comfort over calling. They'd rather not rock the boat, even if it means sinking quietly. But not you. Not if you're serious. Not if you're really about that life. Because you weren't born to blend in. You weren't built for mediocrity. And the future you keep dreaming about, it's not going to happen by accident. It's not going to drop in your lap while you entertain the same people, the same patterns, the same energy that's been keeping you stuck. It's going to take intentionality. It's going to take action. It's going to take a decision. And yes, it's going to hurt. You're going to grieve the space they used to fill. You're going to miss the memories. You're going to feel the weight of the silence. But on the other side of that decision is alignment, is peace, is focus, is power. That version of you who wakes up with fire again, who trusts themselves again, who walks in purpose again. That's the reward. But you'll never meet that version if you keep letting the wrong person rewrite your story. And don't get it twisted. This isn't just about relationships. This is about anything that's been undermining your assignment. It could be a business partner, a family member, a friend you've outgrown, even your own thoughts, those inner voices that don't speak truth, only fear. Sometimes you are the wrong person you need to walk away from. That negative voice, that insecure mindset, that self-sabotaging pattern. You've got to shut it down. You've got to reclaim your narrative. Because at the end of the day, it all comes down to choice. Will you choose peace or chaos? Progress or stagnation? Growth or guilt? Your dream or their comfort? You can't have both. And if you keep trying to, you'll stay stuck in the middle, tired, frustrated, and slowly losing everything you were born to become. So make the decision. Do it scared. Do it crying. Do it confused. But do it. Because your dream, your real, God-given, world-shaking, soul-burning dream is worth it.